Hello everyone. Today we will start our new topic that is called techniques of management. In last class we had already discussed about what is management, what are its principles of management, what are its nature of management, as well as we already discussed about scientific management, principles of scientific management given by F.W. Taylor, Frederick Winslow Taylor. He also gave us some kind of techniques which can be used in scientific management to do your business in an effective and efficient manner. All of them, first of these is functional foremanship. What do you mean by foremanship? Let's understand what do you mean by foremanship. Foremanship is simply the person who is directly connected with the worker or who deals with the lower level management, as well as he can direct to workers, he will directly face to face coordinate with the workers, as well as he is the lower level manager as we discussed in first chapter, and he is the highest rating worker or employee in the lowest level management authority. Yeah, my dear friends. And what do you mean by functional foremanship? This is clear what is foremanship. Now, what is functional foremanship? Functional foremanship defined by a Taylor, that whenever we need to guide or we need to motivate or we need to take efforts to do work, whenever we require that our workers should work for us, then we need some kind of techniques, some kind of technologies, some kind of experiences, some kind of knowledges. We need to understand what kind of qualities that particular foreman has, so that every worker will be able to work under him. Like, he must have good knowledge, he must have good experience, he must have a good judgment skills, he must have a motivation and leadership skills, so that every worker will able to help as well as able to do his work on efficient and effective manner. Mr. Taylor also knows that all these qualities, that education, qualification, knowledge, experience can't bound to single person only. It would be given to different person. Therefore, he was divided functional manager as or foreman into two broad categories, that is production in charge and planning in charge. Let's see how it described. As per Taylor, Taylor decides to describe all the qualities in different specialists, different persons, so that everyone can be worked under these kind of persons. Like, foreman is divided by two parts, that is, one was planning in charge and other is production in charge. As per Taylor, there are two kind of specialist persons. He divided planning and production into two segments. In each segment, he divided four personal characteristics, four personal specialized persons, so that they can help to workers, to motivate them, as well as to guide them, to give them knowledge, to give them training, etc. Planning in charge is further divided into four parts, that is, first is instruction card clerk, instruction card clerk. Second is route clerk. Next is time and cost clerk, time and cost clerk, and the last one is disciplinarian. Last one is disciplinarian. Now, before go to further, we need to understand what are these four characteristics are all about, what are these four personals are all about. Now, in case of planning in charge, he distributed the four functions in four different specialized different persons. Now, he need to understand that these all personals have some specified kind of task. First one was that instruction card clerk. Who is instruction card clerk? Simply the instruction card clerk is the one who provides or drafting instructions to workers, as in how to do work, when to do work, as in what you doing is going good or not. It all about the instructions routine. Next is route clerk. What do you mean by route clerk? Route clerk simply helps us to define what is the route of production, as in from where to where our production will be held, or from which machine to next machine, what is the process, which process is going to be first, which process is going to be second. It is all about definition of route clerk. Next part is time and cost clerk. Time and cost clerk will be decide that your production will be maintaining a time and cost sheet, so that your production will be done in particular time or not, in particular cost or not, so that your organization's total targets and achievements as well as effectiveness should be maintained. Whenever your organization producing a product, we should assure that this particular product should be completed within a time and given cost. Next was disciplinarian. In case of disciplinarian, we need to understand that a person who need to discipline, who ensures that discipline is to be maintained with the workers, with the team members, as well as their target has to be achieved on time, effective manner and efficient manner. Okay, so let's revise our concept again. In case of functional manager or foremanship, we have to divide it into two parts, planning and production in charge. In case of planning in charge, we have decided into four parts, that is instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk and disciplinarian. Now let's take our another in charge, that is production in charge. Production in charge. Production in charge also divided into four kind of persons. First is, in production in charge, Taylor has divided the production into four segments, four different segments. What are they? First is speed boss. Second is gang boss. Third is repair boss, and the last but not least, it is inspector. They are just similar like a planning in charge concept, but there is a little bit difference. What are that? Speed boss, what is the work of a speed boss? A speed boss will be assured that work has to be done in a time and as well as accurately manner or not. Your work has been done in proper time or accurately or not. Next is gang boss. Gang boss will be decide that the further production is to be maintained as well as effective cost and working operations as well as cost utilized properly or not. Thereafter, repair boss will decide whether our machines are currently working or not, laborers are working or not, or in case any machinery going to down or going to be idle, what are the consequences, how we can handle that, how we can improve our machines. it all discussed with the repair boss. And last but not least is the inspector. Inspector will deal with about all the kind of bosses, that what kind of instructions they are providing, what kind of time and speed they are providing, what kind of repairs they are providing, as well as he will also ensure that some particular worker is doing some great task, as well as the production was continuing as been day to day basis and timely manner. He need to observe, he need to monitor whether to our production is doing in good manner or not. Clear, my guys? Okay, so let's revise what are the special persons of planning in charge and production in charge. Planning in charge we have already discussed. Now production in charge. There are 4 types: speed boss, gang boss, then inspector and repair boss. Okay, let's read the concept. Functional foremanship. Foreman represents the managerial figure with who the workers are in face-to-face contact on daily basis. As we had already discussed this, that workers are in face-to-face contact on daily basis. Yeah. Next, functional foremanship is a technique in which planning and production are separated. We decided planning in charge and production in charge. Yeah. Next, under the planning in charge, we had guided you a four kind of specialists. What are they? Instruction card clerk, route clerk, then time and cost clerk, and disciplinarian. What are they? Instruction card clerk to draft instructions for workers. Okay. Route clerk to specify the route of production. What is the route of production? As in what kind of raw material comes first and what goes thereafter. Then time and cost clerk, you need to prepare a cost sheet, time and cost sheet. Then disciplinarian, you need to ensure discipline respectively for all your in charges. Next is all about production in charge. What is production in charge is all about? There is a 4 personnel. What are they? Yes, come on. There are 4 personnel. First one is speed boss, who is responsible for timely and accurate completion of job. Yeah. Then gang boss, keeping machines and tools in an active position. Then repair boss, ready for operation by workers. He is used to check that machines are working or not. Thereafter, inspector, ensure proper working condition of machines and tools and check the quality of work. He will check the machines, proper quality of workers, as well as ensure that the work has to be done on time or not. Clear, my friends? So let's revise functional foremanship technique. It has divided into 2 parts, 2 particular persons, that is production in charge and personal in charge. In case, planning in charge. In case of planning in charge, we divided into 4 parts. What are they? Instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, and disciplinarian. In case of production in charge, we had divided it into 4 personals. What are they? Speed boss, gang boss, repair boss, and inspector. Okay. Now let's start with our another technique of management, technique of scientific management, that is called standardization and simplification of work. What do you mean by standardization and simplification? Is both are same or something little bit different? My dear friends, there is something little bit difference, quite difference I must say. That is, standardization is always deal with to standardize your particular product, particular new things, new ideas, to set a benchmark. You have to set some standard goals, some standard policies, so that all kind of workers should be followed that particular thing. But simplification is generally deals with the existing products, existing varieties. It can't deal with the new products or new varieties. Standardization is always deals with the new products or new ideas, new policies, and new varieties also. Okay, so what's here? Now we also need to discuss that why we need to require standardization and simplification of work. As per Taylor, there is some kind of bifurcation in between standardization and simplification, as in what kind of work you need to be standardized, you have to set goals, you have to set a benchmark, and what kind of work you have to be simplified to change your existing products. Okay, see, standardization refers to the developing standards for every business activity, like standardization of process, raw material, time, product, machinery, methods, or working conditions. You need to set standards for your processes, that this should be done in this manner only. You should be set your standards for your raw materials, that we will buy only the top priority raw materials, top quality of goods only. It all be set by standards. Now objectives of standardization. What are the main objectives of standardization? Why we need to follow the standardization? To reduce a given product into fixed type, size and characteristics. To reduce your given product into fixed type, that is, we have to, whatever we are managing or we are producing or we are doing work, that should be maintained in particular a fixed kind of line, fixed way of variety, all kind of it comes under the common line. That is, we need all my products like this color, in this shape, etc. To establish interchangeability of manufactured parts and products, so that we can establish an interchangeability, that is, manufacturing, whatever we are manufacturing as well as whatever we are purchasing from the market can be interchanged as well as maybe similar to the customers also, so that they will find a product. And for example, let's say there are various companies that uses standardization in their products, as in branding, they are using branding and labeling to set a standard. Like if you drink a Coca-Cola or Thumbs Up, or you are using any food stuff like McD or Domino's, they all have some branding or labeling. All kind of their packets, boxes, as well as all kind of their cartons having same kind of color, same kind of combination, same kind of tag and symbol and etc. They all set an standardization, so that it will be differentiate with this particular product from other products. Okay. To establish standards of excellence and quality in materials. While setting standards, we can ensure that quality of product should be appreciated, as well as our material and quality and product, all things should be in a good manner. Because if you want to run our business in a long run, then we need to understand what kind of quality consumers are liking. Then to establish standards of performance of man and machines, we need to set standard of performances of man and machine, like this particular person is required to do 7 hours of work, 8 hours of work, or I must say this kind of machine has to be work for 100 hours, then we require a service, then we do again 100 hours of work. It all depends on your standards. Standardization implies devising new varieties of instead of existing ones. Mark this, my dear friends, that is, standardization implies devising new varieties. As I already discussed, that standardization always be covered under the new varieties. It won't be covered under the existing varieties or existing product. In case of existing varieties, we need to do simplify, not standardization. Okay. What is simplification? Is to eliminating superfluous varieties of products or services. To eliminating superfluous means unnecessary varieties of product or services. It results in savings of cost of labor, machines and tools. It leads to fuller utilization of equipment and increase in turnover. Let's say what kind of existing products, existing cost, existing management, existing workers you are doing, existing resources you are managing, you need to cross check that particular resources are giving me optimum solution, optimum results. No, if they aren't given our particular objective, then we need to complete our task to reduce costs, to maximize profits, as well as to reduce or utilize these resources on an effective manner. They all should be done with an existing product with the help of simplification. Okay. Next kind of technique of scientific management is method study. Did you heard about the method study, or what is mean by method? What do you mean by method? Method is simply saying that a technique which is used to do a work, as in how to do this work. It all tells about in method study. Objective of method study is to find out one best way of doing the job to maximize efficiency in the use of materials, machinery, manpower and capital. In case of organizations factor, we need to decide whether all the resources are used in optimum manner or not, and if they are not using in optimum manner, then we need to tell how they need to improve their efficiency, how they improve their effectiveness. It all works under the management team. So as per Taylor, you need to focus on method study of your organization. That is, what kind of method they should be followed. You must teach them. You must allow them to understand what kind of method we are learning on this basis. Many techniques are used for method study like process charts and operation research. Let's discuss about these two examples. In case of process charts, you need to maintain a blueprint of some process, that is which process comes first and which process goes thereafter and what sequence it will be followed. What raw material should be processed in machine 1 and machine 2 and machine 3, it should be shown in that manner. And in case of operation research, you need to decide whether your operations are doing in a good manner, your probability of product is going to be good, or there is a something transportation problem occurs or not, that is your product should be transported to the customer on time or not, at the particular price, as well as transportation issues are not going to be resolved or not. So they all covered under the part of method study. Method study nowadays generally adopted by automobile industries. They know because how to manage, how to maintain, how to create our automobiles, how to maintain our cars, how to create a seat, how to put in techniques, how to put a machinery process. As in, you all know that car can't be built at a single machine only. It is assembled in different sectors. As in, first we get the roof, for example, second we get the seatings, then steerings, and then gates and all that about that. So we need to understand what kind of techniques, what kind of methods you are using to producing a method. Next is our motion study. What do you mean by motion study? Motion study means you need to focus where whatever the particular officer, worker or employee or production is moving from one place to another place. So that you need to decide whether the product or worker or employee is still at the same location, same place or not, or is he moving, or is he doing something to do extra efforts to achieve your targets, achieve your organizational objectives or not. You need to decide or observe that all the kind of persons as well as all the kind of products are going in forward to achieve your targets or not. It refers to the study of movement like lifting, putting, object sitting and changing positions, etc., which are undertaken while doing a typical job. We need to obviously understand that what kind of job they are doing, and if they are doing any typical kind of job, complex job, then we need to observe that is there any changes has been occurred, their problems has been resolved or not, something like that. Motion study seeks to eliminate unnecessary motions in the execution of a job to enable it to be completed in less time efficiently. While observing the motion study, we will calculate that any ineffectiveness of employee or inefficiency of any product should be removed, or it can be removed by the way of using observing that where we can remove such inefficiencies and ineffectiveness of my product as well as workers. Next technique of management is time study. Yeah, this is very important study and used by generally all the organizations in our world. Like time study generally depends upon, it decides whether what time your particular product should be maintained or produced, whether what time your worker has been done or completed his job. It all comes under the time study, whether you had completed your time, your particular product on time or not, whether you had completed your product or coming to the office on time or not. It always discuss with the time, so that the production comes on time, workers got paid for time, how much they give time to the organization. It all depends upon the observations of time study. So here we understand that it determines the standard time taken to perform a well defined job, as well we define how to do the job as well as when to complete this job. Then method of time study will depends upon volume and frequency of the task, cycle time of operations and time measurement cost. time study always depends upon some particular factors. What are they? These are method of time study. What kind of method you are using, as in you are taking time in between two products, two processes, two persons. Whatever the time you are taking, you need to observe different strategies, different policies, different methods you have to use, like cycle time of operations, frequency of the task, idle time of the workers. All can be covered under the time study. Sir, why we need to understand this time study? Before go further, we need to understand why we are going to learn about this kind of time study. What does it help us to? My dear friends, whenever we go for time study, let's take an example. Okay, suppose there is a worker, there is a two organizations, organization A and organization B. In case of organization A, there is a worker, total, I must say one worker so that our calculations become easy. There is a one worker who is doing job, one, or I can say 10 workers you can take. Okay, yeah, there are 10 workers, they are doing their job, they are coming in office for 8 hours a day. Okay, they are get paid for 8 hours only. Now in that 8 hours, they have idle hour of 1 hour, suppose for rest or lunch or something extra activities, they need to take rest or became idle. So our effective hour is 7 hours. 7 hours for one worker. Okay, now in 7 hours they are getting paid for the amount of 8 hours. Yeah, and there are 10 workers, then company need to pay about 70 hours or 70 workers for each their production. Now what I am going to tell, let's take this example in one step forward. Suppose organization A wants to produce 100 units of production. They want their goods to be produced at 100 units. Now what they will do, they will ask them to complete their job, to complete their 100 units of production, and then we will give you a payment. This kind of step paid to the organization A. This is organization A. Now suppose in case of organization B, what if they applied that these 10 workers are working in an organization, as well as there is a standard time set to be there, that each worker can be managed or can be prepared for particular production in an hour. For example, this organization noticed that any worker requires only 20 minutes or only 15 minutes to complete a product, so that they can complete 4 products in an hour. So according to that, as company B decide, organization B decide that there are 10 workers, each are working for 7 hours, effectively are 7 hours, then we have 70 hours, we need to produce 100 products. Okay, or we need to produce just say 70 products. Let's say one by one. Okay, so that your calculation become easy. You want to produce only 70 products. Now organization B decided to pay remuneration on the basis of piecemeal system or piece wage system, as in whatever the time you taken. For example, in case you are required to do 7 hours into, in particular day you will be produce 7 hours multiplied by 4, 28 products in particular day. Now this is the minimum time required for every worker, that all the workers should be produced at least 28 units or not. Now if any worker doesn't able to create or produce 28 products in particular day, then what will you do? You have to charge him, or you have to punish him, or you have to penalize him, that he couldn't achieve your standard or set goals. But whenever some achieves, like in 7 hours he make 30 products, 32 products, then please appreciate them, please give rewards to them. This is the basic concept of Taylor, that you need to decide, you need to work your organization's workers so that all the workers have to focus on time as well as accurateness also. If they can give your accuracy on time, they can give best production on time, maximum production on given time, then please reward them, please appreciate them in front of all. And those who don't give your products on time, then please don't do them the salary, complete salary, or punish them or penalize them. This is the basic kind of difference found by Mr. Taylor. See, method of time study will depends upon the volume and frequency. Yeah, done. Objective of time study is to determine the number of workers to be employed, frame suitable incentive schemes, and determine labor costs. You need to decide what is the labor cost and all. Let's suppose, take this example, what we had discussed, this is written here. Standard time taken by a worker to make one cardboard box is 20 minutes. One worker is required to take 20 minutes to complete a cardboard box. Then he or she can make 3 boxes in an hour. Yeah, in 1 hour how many boxes he can make? 20 multiplied by 3. So he can make three products. Assuming the worker has to put in 8 hours of work in a shift and deducting 1 hour of rest and lunch, he is doing 8-hour job. In that 8 hour, you need to reduce particular 1 hour for ideal time. Effective are 7 hours per day. So per day he can make 21 hours or 21 boxes or 21 products. As in our example, it was 28. So in particular time period, you need to produce 21 boxes. Now, if any worker completed his target, achieved the 21 boxes, please give them reward or bonus or appreciation, something like that. But whom don't are able to give that particular boxes in time, that is they don't completed 21 boxes on 8 hours work or 7 hours work, then don't reward them, don't pay them complete payment. Okay. Yeah, next is fatigue study. Next study given by the Taylor is fatigue study. What do you mean by fatigue study? Fatigue study simply depends upon what kind of rest or what kind of weaknesses or how worker cannot be moving to the work, how he is not able to do the work or something like that. Or I can say whenever he or she feels down, he is demotivated, then how we will get back to them so that they will able to achieve our targets and do the work efficiently and effective manner. Determine amount and frequency or rest intervals in completing a task. Why does fatigue study requires? My dear friends, in case of organization, various employees needs rest sometime, rest intervals or some intervals. They need to take some different intervals so that they will do a task with the better production, better efficiency and effectiveness. How? Let's say why we require a fatigue study, like whenever you had a bad day, bad working day or bad environment, or you are tortured by someone, or you are facing any issues, your personal issues are going there, or your colleagues are not supported to you, or your managers are not supported to you, you are feeling lonely, something kind of that, then these kind of pressures will affect your brain, and while doing this kind of stuff, you are not able to complete your task on time. As per Taylor, if the work involves heavy manual labor, then small pauses have to be frequently given to the worker so that he or she can recharge his or her energy level for optimum contribution. As per Taylor, he knows that no particular person can do his job or his production or his task on back-to-back basis. He needs rest. He needs to take some pauses. Let's discuss with our example. Whenever we go to study our subjects, then whatever we decide that let's complete this chapter and then we will play or we will discuss or we will chat or something like that. But while completing a chapter, there are two persons, suppose A and B. A completed the whole chapter in one shot in 3 hours. Yeah, he is a good boy, very good, nice. But how much he retain in the mind, this is different. Okay. Now take the another example, B, a student who is a B. Now B is completing his chapter in 4 hours. I must say 4 hours. Same chapter completed by B in 4 hours. But in these 4 hours, he take properly gaps, as in every 45 minutes he will rest for 5 to 10 minutes, or he will rest for 15 minutes. But the efficiency of both the students, whose efficiency got to be the better, A or B? B, because he is taking rest, he is taking your mind diverted, he is taking to give rest to your mind, so that whenever he come back, he will give you better production. A will retain only 1 hour or 1.5 hour of study, but the B will retain, there are chances that he will retain 100% of your chapter. Okay. Causes of fatigue are long working hours, as in you are doing back to back working, you need some rest, your body or your mind needs some rest. Doing unsuitable work, you are doing any unsuitable work, you don't like that work, then also you will feel tired. Having uncordial or unfriendly relations with the boss, your boss is not friendly with you, your boss is not happy with you. Bad working conditions, as I said, that your environment or your colleagues, you are not supported with colleagues, as well as the environment, the ambience of your organization is not suited to you, the environment is not comfortable to you. So it all depends to hit our mind, and it will give us tiredness, and due to this tiredness we are unable to complete our product on time. Okay, next is differential piece wage rate system. What does this technique means? With the help of Taylor, he defined that all the workers should be paid on the basis of pieces they made on given time. As we already discussed in time study, that we need to count whatever the standard production he has to be done or not. But in case of differential piece wage system, you need to decide whether any employee or any worker has been produced multiple products, multiple pieces, or multiple men more than pieces than others, then please give them more payment, or else decide whether the wage rate of the employee or worker. That there are two kind of organizations, they are using the wage rate payment. First of one is allowing that you are going to be paid only for 8 hours. Now whatever the production you require to do, let's do it. Let's discuss this example. Organization A and organization B. Yeah, organization A paying their workers that you will be get ₹10 per hour, and you have to work for 8 hours. Now organization will pay only ₹80 for each and every worker, not an individual or not a special worker. Each worker can be get paid with ₹80. Yeah. Thereafter, in case of organization B, they are having planning of differential piece wage system, that is workers should be paid on the basis of pieces he has to be made. Means a person who makes the maximum pieces get the maximum remuneration, a pieces who made the lowest pieces, he will paid for the lowest piece wage system. Like for example, per piece per product you need to pay a worker ₹5, and this particular worker demands for a fees or demands for his wage rate. Suppose a particular worker produces only 20 units in there in particular day, then he should get paid for 20 multiplied by 5, ₹100. But what if any worker should be produced 30 pieces in a day? He should be appreciated or not? Yeah, we must think he should be appreciated. He must be paid extra as compared to 20th worker, so that whenever he is motivated with the extra payment, he will get rewarded for extra work, then he get motivated to work next time better than others also. If he will do the 30 products in a particular day, he should be paid for ₹150 instead of 100. This is the difference between organization A and organization B. Organization A follows a standard rate, that is ₹80 per day, and organization B follows on the piece wage system, that is how many pieces you produce, take the rate or take the wage rate according to your pieces. Taylor introduced different rate of wage payment for those who performed above standard and for those who performed below standard. Above and below, you get that, that is what is my standard limit is, for example 20 units is my standard limit, or every worker has to work for 20 units, need to produce 20 units. Now you need to check whether any worker has produced 24 units or whether has anyone produced 17 units. Now you should pay accordingly. For 24 units one, you have to pay extra rewards, extra benefits, motivation, something like that, and for 17th one you have to pay some penal charges, some punishments or like that. Differential piece wage system seeks to reward more efficient workers by giving him or her more wages for more quantity of standard productions achieved. See, what does it tells? To reward a more efficient worker by giving him or her more wages for more quantity of standards production achieved, as in only the person rewarded when he achieved the standard production on time as well as with minimum resources. Next, last but not least, mental revolution. Mental revolution is not generally the technique, but yeah, it is used in case of Taylor's management, scientific management principles. He told that we need to understand the attitude of managers and workers, that both are cooperating with others, both are doing the task simultaneously or not, or they are dependent on the fact that why I should do, why they can do, or only this is done by them only. This should be changed by Taylor technique. So he wanted to change a mentally thought in between workers and management, that please treat management and workers to coordinate it or to be a friends or family, not to be treated as a separate person or as a senior or junior person, so that they are feel free to share as well as feel free to achieve your targets and objectives. It involves a change in the attitude of workers and management towards one another from competition to cooperation. You need to change mentality regarding that they are not your competition, they are your cooperation, they require your cooperation. Management and workers should realize that they require one another. They both should have know that management has to be do work with the help of workers and vice versa. They can't be so sure that we don't require workers, all work can be done by me. No, my dear, all work can't be done by individual managers as well as individual workers. They both need proper cooperation and proper coordination. Okay, so let's revise our techniques. What kind of techniques we had learned till today? Let's discuss all the techniques one by one. Let's revise. First was functional foremanship. In functional foremanship, I had told you that foreman is divided into two parts: production and planning in charge. Planning in charge divided into four parts. What were they? Instruction card clerk, route clerk, time and cost clerk, and disciplinarian. Thereafter, production in charge. Production in charge divided into four categories: speed boss, gang boss, repair boss, and inspector. Yeah, our next technique is deal with standardization and simplification of work, which told about that your work should be standardized. You have to set your benchmark as well as simplify as requirement as per new and existing products to be set in standard. Okay, then we had discussed our next technique, which is method study. In this study, you had to know about how to do a work, you know a method or technique, how to complete a task. Then motion study. In motion study, we are learning about, we understood that what is the movement of products or movement of person which can be managed or which can be observed to know that our targets are achieved on time, lifting, sitting, something like that. Next is time study. In case of time study, we had discussed that your product should be given on time, your product should be maintained and measured on time, as well as the particular person should be paid on timely manner, that if he completed his work on time or he completed his work more than time, then you should give rewards if he is completed on time. But if he is not able to complete his work on time, then you need to punish them or you need to start them motivating to work hard and compete with others. Next is fatigue study. Fatigue study deals with your tiredness of worker, that you need to check whether my worker is tired or not, what are the basic reason he became tired, why he is not able to do work in a best energy and all. So you need to decide in fatigue study. Next, differential piece weight system. You need to pay workers on the basis of production they had made in a particular day. How many pieces they had made, you need to pay for that. Anyone who is making or producing more than standard products, more than required products, then reward them. Or anyone who don't make standard products or who is making less than standard products, then don't reward them. Just ask them, just pay them wage rate or as well as punishments or something like that. Last but not least, what was that? Mental revolution. In case of mental revolution, we discussed that mental revolution should be managed in between workers and managers, that both need coordination, they both aren't competitors. They both ensure that workers and managers can do their work simultaneously, and managers himself can't be done any work as well as workers also. Okay, my dear friends, thank you.